President Cyril Ramaphosa's SONA speech this year was strong on action and implementation. This time, he wasn't just announcing plans, he was pointing to results: economic growth ticking upward, a firmer rand, improving employment figures, and renewed focus on fixing local government. But he was careful, almost deliberate, in acknowledging the crises that still hang over his presidency: unacceptably high levels of crime and corruption, and poor performance by local government. More importantly, he announced firm plans to tackle these. In this episode, I'm going to explain why this may have been Ramaphosa's most measurable SONA yet. Hello everyone, welcome back to Joe Talks Politics. I am your host, Joseph Mosia. Let's get right into this. Ramaphosa used the State of the Nation address to once again show his belief in South Africa and its potential.
Today, we must realize these aspirations in a world that is rapidly changing, a world in which narrow self-interest has replaced the common good, a world in which trade is used as an instrument of cohesion, a world in which might is right and the powerful impose themselves on the weak. To navigate this new world, we must draw on our strength as a nation. Our strength comes from our values, as articulated in our Constitution. The values of dignity, of equality, of non-racialism, non-sexism, diversity, and of the inherent worth of every person. It comes from our people. Our strength comes from our people, from our tolerance, from our generosity, kindness, and solidarity.
Indeed, Ramaphosa has always been positive about South Africa, but this time, he had the data to support his claims.
We have achieved 2 consecutive primary budget surpluses. Our credit rating has improved. Interest rates are coming down. And inflation is at its lowest level in 20 years. We are on a clear path of stabilizing our national debt. The rand has strengthened against the dollar. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the largest stock exchange on the African continent, has performed exceptionally well over the past year. This growth reflects broader economic recovery, investor confidence, and increasing interest in South Africa's economy and equities. Our borrowing costs have been declining.
High levels of crime have been a festering sore on South Africa's post-1994 project, raising uncomfortable questions about leadership and state capacity. Administration after administration has acknowledged this problem, but so far, very little has been achieved.
The cost of crime is measured in lives that are lost and futures that are cut short. It is felt also in the sense of fear that permeates our society and in the reluctance of businesses to invest. Children here in the Western Cape are caught in the crossfire of gang wars. People are chased out of their homes by illegal miners in Kagiso, in Gauteng, Bapoba Mogale as well. Women are murdered by their partners in their homes. Building sites are shut down by criminals. To strengthen our fight against gang violence, I will be deploying the South African National Defence Force to support the police. Now, thank you. Thank you. As I said, I will be deploying the South African National Defence Force to support the police as we did to great effect with illegal mining. I have directed the Minister of Police and the SANDF to develop a technical plan on where our security forces should be deployed within the next few days in the Western Cape and in Gauteng to deal with gang violence and illegal mining.
It is well and good to take action against criminals wreaking havoc on the streets and in abandoned mine shafts. But what about those in uniform? The ones who cavort with criminal masterminds and drug kingpins. The ones who thwart operations by informing the criminals ahead of raids. Yes, what about the generals who rendezvous with crime bosses and bribe with them?
The hearings of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and the hearings that are going on in the ad hoc committee here have exposed rampant corruption in the SAPs and some metro police departments through the abuse of power. We cannot tolerate this. The rule of law depends on a police service that is ethical, responsive, and rooted in the communities that it serves. The South African Police Service has established a task team to ensure that investigations arising from the Madlanga Commission are undertaken swiftly without interference. The State Security Agency will re-vet the senior management of the South African Police Service and Metro Police Departments. The vetting process will include lifestyle audits as well. As we have successfully done with previous commissions, we will use the recommendations of the Madlanga Commission to make far-reaching changes.
Local government failures and water shortages don't exist in a vacuum. They are the cumulative results of 3 decades of governance under the ANC, where cadre deployment and corruption steadily eroded municipal capacity. What we are witnessing is not simply infrastructure decay, but the long-term consequences of political choices that hollowed out the state from within.
In addition to crime, water is now the single most important issue for many people in our country, from large cities like Johannesburg to smaller towns like Knysna and rural areas like Guyana. We have all seen the pain that our people have been expressing through demonstrations in various parts of Gauteng. Now, these protests have been fueled by the frustrations that our people are feeling over inadequate, unreliable access to basic services such as water.
In an election year, it is not enough to acknowledge the problem. The question is, what is government going to do about this? Here too, the President had a long list of actions being taken to tackle the problem. And he means business.
We will hold to account those who neglect their responsibility to supply water to our people. Government has already laid criminal charges against 56 municipalities that have failed to meet their obligations. We will now move to even lay charges against municipal managers for violating the National Water Act. The critical problem is that in many metros, in many of our cities and towns, water revenue is being used for other purposes, and very little is invested in upgrading and maintaining water infrastructure.
Most of the government's successes so far can be attributed to the government of national unity. But one area where members of the GNU are still not fully aligned is on foreign policy. This is especially important in light of hostile attitudes towards South Africa by countries like the United States and Israel. Some parties, including the DA, favor a more pragmatic, non-aligned, and economically focused approach. Ramaphosa believes there is a limit to how much South Africa can be pushed.
In a world where powerful nations often assert their dominance and influence over less powerful nations, our country's commitment to sovereignty and self-determination is sacrosanct. It is not negotiable. And we will stand firm on our sovereignty and promote our national interests, our values, and the rights of our people. We are clear that we will continue to respect the rights and sovereignty of other nations, but we must be equally clear that we will not be bullied by any other country in the world.
Tell me what you think. Are you as positive, or do you think more could have been said? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to comment, share, and like it. And for those who are not yet subscribers, please consider doing so. That's all from me, Joseph Mosia. This has been another episode of Joe Talks Politics. See you in the next one.